Hello. So today I'm going to be upcycling some old point shoes into a pair of beautiful gloves. I'm going to try taking these apart. I have 2 used pairs and then 1 brand new pair that no one was using. I did a lot of the deconstructing process off camera because it was mostly just me sitting for hours and just picking at all of the threads. But one thing I did learn from the process is that they come apart a lot easier if you soak them in water for like 10 minutes first. I'm going to try soaking this in water and a little bit of vinegar to disinfect it. Got my bucket of water, added some vinegar to it. That one came apart so much faster. I want to use a mix of like the satin stuff and then also the little trims that go on it, the elastic straps, the seam tape. I also have some of the little tabs that are from the back of the shoe that I feel like could be cute to incorporate as well. Some of them are pretty stained from being danced with, but I do think it could be cool to maybe dye the stuff that's discolored black and then do a black version of these gloves. That'll be a project for another day. Right now I have this paper pattern that I put together using a pair of vintage gloves. Someone on Facebook was giving away an entire box of vintage gloves, so I have a bunch of these. I deconstructed this pair because it's got some ladies' makeup all over it, which I think is a really cute detail. But the fabric I'm using is less stretchy than this, so I'm adding a 1/2 inch to the sides. I also decided to cut the fingers off of my pattern because that'll make it easier, and then I can add fingers on my next attempt at gloves. Everything's finally set, and now it's just time to make a prototype and see if the pattern actually works before I use the ballet fabric, which I also have to patchwork that all together before I can sew it into something, but we'll get to that. I think I'm going to use this as my test piece and try out a couple different stitch options. Like I could do just one straight stitch, I could do a straight stitch and a zigzag, I could do one like really big zigzag. So it's been a minute since I last updated, but this is where I'm at with the design process. I did a little bit of work off camera because sometimes it's just easier to not have to film everything that I'm doing, especially when I'm doing something like this for the first time, to create the actual textile of the patchworked point shoes. I took the pieces and laid them out on top of this pattern, and I also tried to make sure that it was off grain in the parts that would need the most stretch, like the thumb hole. I did a mix of zigzag and straight stitches, which you can kind of see more of on this side. And then the thumb hole I hand stitched all the way into here. And these thumb holes took actual hours to do because I was doing them by hand, so I don't really recommend that method if you're trying to do this project quickly, but they are super secure in there now. And this is what they look like on. The stretch worked out perfectly putting it into the thumb hole because now like it's not too tight. And the last thing I am working on to finish these is adding the bias tape and the grommets. This one is already pinned and ready to go with the sewing machine, and I've done the zigzag stitch across the top and the bottom as well. And I also off camera added a little bit of interfacing because I know that the grommets are going to put a lot of wear and tear on this, and the silk is pretty delicate, so I feel like the interfacing will help a lot.